Hiya. Here's another snippet for you. This one's about my grandmother, who we used to call Nan. Nanan. She was a lovely lady. She was quite small, with white curly hair that wasn't naturally curled, it was permed. And I remember sometimes she asked me to do her home perm for her. She had a hairdresser that she went to, but sometimes I did the home perm instead as I got older, but not when I was very young. But Nanan was deaf, very deaf. Um, and Grandpa used to, he had enough money because he'd worked really hard and saved up money and ended up in a good job. So he had enough money to spare. And every time a new type of hearing aid came out, he bought her it. But she hated them. She didn't use them. She tried them, but because they made everything louder, which is what they're meant to do, it became louder. Even things like that noise, where I'm just tapping a mug with a pen, she found that too loud because she hadn't heard it for years and years and years. And knives and forks, knocking against each other, things like that when people are eating, she just would, she couldn't stand it. So one of the hearing aids she had, um, which I remember, was a big sort of thing that fixed over her ear, and then a wire came down and attached to a unit which she pinned onto whatever clothes she was wearing. And she could turn it on and off or up and down in volume on that unit. But it used to whistle and sing as well. It used to whistle, make noises as it was supposed to be working. The machine itself made funny noises. So she usually had it turned off. And the smaller ones that Grandpa got her later on, as more technology developed, she ended up with one that was quite small. It was about the size of my little finger, and it just tucked behind her ear. So it didn't, or this ear, whichever ear it was, it didn't take up much room. But she had that turned off most of the time as well. So I learned to speak clearly and project my voice, because from when I first started to talk or make any noises, in fact, in order for Nanan to hear me and for us to have a conversation later on, um, I learnt to project my voice without hurting my own vocal cords. And that stood me in really good stead when I became a teacher and when I was calling for Brian and his brother George when they were young. I could project my voice across a long way without really trying. I just spoke up and it just went boom right across wherever we were. So that was one thing about Nanan, her deafness, which was quite dominant. She also was very well looked after. She had a cleaner came in, she had a dressmaker, she had a hairdresser, she had all these people. She did all the cooking, and I think she must have done the washing of clothes and hanging them out, because the cleaner came once a week, and Grandpa did all the gardening and things because he was retired by the time I was born. So he was at home at the same time as her. So she had she was very well looked after, let's put it that way, which she deserved because she was a lovely lady. When I went to see her, she used to let me just go wherever I wanted in the house and explore. And I had her permission to look inside her jewellery box, which was a lovely box, which I've still got. I've got the box, I haven't got the jewellery. My older cousin Daphne, she was given the majority of the jewellery. The one I've got is the golden whistle that I've talked to you about from way back. And Grandpa gave me that because it was one of his ancestors that owned it. So I used to go and look through her jewellery, and she had some nice bits and pieces, mostly costume jewellery, but nice little brooches and things. So I'd open up the box and start looking in it and move the shelf out of the way. And inside the box there's a little shelf with little compartments in. You'll see it when you come up if you want to, but it's not got the same sort of jewellery in anymore. It's just got odds and ends that I keep handy. But the box is there, and I love the box. So I used to go and look through the box. And she also had a dressing table with mirrors that you could turn inwards, with like 3 mirrors, one flat and 2 on hinges on either side. So you could turn it and see the back of your head if you wanted to, because you were getting dressed up to go out or something. Make sure you got everything right. And I used to sit there and put the mirrors so they reflected each other and see how many different images I could get reflections of reflections. I used to think that was great fun. So that was one thing I did with that. But I could also look in the little drawers and things where she had bits and bobs, hairpins, all sorts of odds and ends. And I used to like just looking. I put everything back where it was meant to be. And I liked just going and looking. It was lovely to be trusted and given the permission from Nanan to do it. The other thing in that bedroom, she had quite a big old wardrobe, and she didn't mind if I opened up the wardrobe and rummaged through her clothes. And it's not a nice thing nowadays, but in those days, if you could afford it, women had a fur coat made from animal skins. And Nanan had one which was, I think it was Astrakhan or something, but it was black. And the fur wasn't like loose fur, like hair, like that. It was it was black, and it was in tight little rows that all twisted round each other. And I used to love just looking at it because there were all patterns in the rows. And also she had some lovely dresses and other coats, and her shoes all at the bottom in a special place for shoes that pulled out like a drawer. So that's what I used to do when I was there on my own and not being entertained while she was busy doing baking or something and Grandpa was busy somewhere else. I used to prowl around and nosy about and things. Strangely, I don't remember ever looking through Grandpa's wardrobe or drawers and things. By that time, they had separate bedrooms because each of them slept better when they were in a different room. But when we all went to stay, that's Daphne and Ian, my brother and myself, the boys went in Nanan's bedroom and Daphne and I went in the spare bedroom, and Nanan and Grandpa stayed in Grandpa's bedroom. So that was Nanan. She was a lovely, kind lady. And we spoke a lot, and I listened to what she said, and she could hear what I said because I'd learned to project my voice. And that's a little bit about Nanan.